Well, my first response was, I hope that the city and the staff here has an opportunity to work with the community to move the programs that were based in this gym in another location. But my second thought was the games in here and the fellowship with other teams and the coaches. It's more than just a building. It has a rich history.
What were your feelings? My feeling was, I thought it was great for the community that they were going to come in and build another facility. My thing is, I wanted them to add to this gym and not tear this gym down. But when they explained to me about the pool and how they had, and the money they had to spend, that's why they was only building one gym. But another point, when I went down to look at the diagrams and everything, when I saw the diagram, they didn't even have a restroom in the inside of the new gym.
Wow.
And me and Kimberly had to sit there and point that out to them, that, hey, there's no inside restroom. Okay, but as far as a new facility, I think it's great. It's great for the community. Gentrification is going on now. We got people coming from everywhere. We're not only just talking about blacks. We're talking about blacks, whites, Latinos, any other race that's coming in here. They're coming back to the inner city. Okay, my first tour here, I believe, was back in 1979. I think I came here September of 78, and I left the beginning of 80. And they had volunteers over here who were professional people. And I'm not talking about 1 or 2 volunteers. We must have had, at least 25, 30 volunteers who were professional people. We had a guy by the name of Howard Neal, who was part owner of a radio station. Matter of fact, the same radio station that was broadcasting the Raiders when they was here. Okay, we had a principal here. It's a couple of principals that was here. We had a pastor, a religious pastor here that was on the board here, and they were just good people to work with. They made our job a lot easier because some of the things they were doing, I would have to do if they wasn't here. Yeah, the difference was the first time I was here, we had no gym. So it was mainly baseball when blacks were playing baseball. Okay, I believe first time we had 40 teams. Right. When I came back, basketball was the number sport at Rancho. It wasn't baseball. Baseball was behind it, but basketball was the number 1 sport. And the thing with basketball, people look at it, all they do is play basketball over Rancho. Maybe so, but it was more than that going on at Rancho. But playing basketball at Rancho gave these kids an opportunity to get a scholarship to go to school to further their education, whether they finished college or not. At least they got in. A lot of them finished college. There's a few that's in the pros now. So it was good vibes, good people here at Rancho Cienega my second time here.
This is, to me, the Mecca of the inner city sports. And this is like the standard, the gold standard of other facilities that they want to obtain. And I think that's really positive to have a facility in the inner city that you can almost do anything that you want to do. Swim, run, play baseball, whatever. But I think this is the pinnacle of inner city sports.
Well, to me, Rancho was in an ideal spot. They were right next to Dorsey High School. They were right off of La Brea, right down the street from Crenshaw. And when you look at this, you look at Dorsey, look at the athletes that came through Dorsey during that time. Look at the athletes that came through Crenshaw in that time. And those kids were basically coming from the Rancho area. They wasn't coming from the valley. They wasn't coming from San Pedro. They was coming right here from the inner city.
Yeah, I think the haters would always come out. They would. At first, I had to check them because certain people would come to me in the recreation and parks department and say, well, you just have traveling teams at your facility, and so that's why they're so good. And I had to explain to them that that's not how Rancho rolls. We would not want to send have just traveling teams in here because we want all the kids to have an experience. And if you're going to have a traveling team and it's going to play the other players, I mean, it's not. What are they going to gain from it?
I would just say, and at that time I was on the farther east, still in the city of LA, but a little bit farther east. And yeah, we used to wonder what was Rancho doing over here. They had the best basketball team. Nobody from the Central District or Metropolitan region wanted to play Rancho because they had the talent. I always wanted to play Rancho because I like for my team to play against the best talent available. Maybe after the game I should have changed my mind and said, nah, we shouldn't have played them. But this was just something to measure your pro. Rancho was something to measure your basketball program by, or any sports program. You know, from what I could see, Rancho was doing everything they were supposed to do. They were just blessed to be in a community where there was an abundance of basketball players and great coaches.
Well, it was a very exciting event when we had basketball games. That was one of the reasons, you know, we talked about, you know, the traveling teams coming in. That's why that there weren't traveling teams, because the games were so competitive. They were very competitive. And I would come out and look in the gymnasium, and the bleachers would be full of people. And, you know, grandmothers would come, grandfathers would come. It was a real community, family kind of event. And people always, you know, they had a good time. It was entertainment almost, you know, like going to see the Lakers or the Clippers games. You know, it was, you know, like I said, the stands were full. We had a concession stand. That we had people. In fact, we even had a DJ sometime would come out, and so it was a real community event, you know. And I think that the kids were the better for it. Darren Morris, Kurt Johnson, Dion Coleman, Dave Williams, you know, those are the names that come. Darius
Henderson.
Henderson. I don't know Darius Henderson. Yeah, I think those people helped make Rancho run.
They made the basketball program successful. The people that we name are all good people. They work very well with kids. Ed talked about the traveling basketball teams. All recreation centers had to go through that period where traveling basketball was the thing. The kids, if they was just average, were signing up for basketball, traveling basketball. What we couldn't do as a recreation person, I know I didn't go there, I did not shove them away. I just say you all cannot be on the same team, and let's spread it out so as anybody step on the court, they got an opportunity to win the basketball game. Dion Coleman, Darius Henderson, outstanding. Ashton Williams, outstanding. Justin Powell, outstanding at giving back to the community, even when they wasn't working. They were back either coaching or officiating. And let me say something about officiating. The thing outside of within the officiating arena is that if you can go to Rancho and call a basketball game, you can go to a high school and call a basketball game. Right. That was the thing, because of the participation with the parents and the kids. When you come in the door, if you can take some of the comments that they make, you can do the same thing at a high school basketball game. It could be Crenshaw and Dorsey playing.
Yeah, we had a Tai Chi class. Miss Chin would come over and teach. We used the gym for that, because a lot of times during the winter it would be too cold. A lot of times, sometimes we'd be outside, but the majority of the time we'd be inside. That was a very interesting class. Also, we had a self-defense class where Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And we have Johnny Ringo, who taught that class for the last probably 20 years here on Sunday. and for free. And I think that's just, you know, a blessing that he has shared with the community, his skills and being able to teach them. And also, he used to do, once a year while I was here, he would do a women's self-defense class on a particular, I think it was 2 weekends he would do, and it was free. They would just pass out flyers, and the women would come, and he'd do a self-defense class. So this wasn't just a place to play basketball.
Late Night Hoops was a program that was sponsored by the Los Angeles Clippers and LA City Rec and Parks. The Clippers probably took up most of the budget, paid for most of the budget, but it was a program that was at Harvard Rec Center years ago that they stopped for 5 or 6 years, and they started back up. And I just happened to be the director at Rancho Cienega, and I also had a good relationship with the Clippers, and I was kind of just put in that position where I had to get some teams or rec centers to represent a team from their rec center to represent in that LA Clipper League. We had 16 teams. We ran Tuesdays and Thursdays. Everybody played 10 to 14 games, and we had a tournament at the end where everybody was invited to the tournament, whether they won 5 or 6 games or no games, but everybody participated. It was a great program. The Clippers would have health fairs, job fairs here, along with that program. They also brought clothing out, apparel, to give to the community on special days when they were here playing their games. But it was a great program. It gave recreation today. We don't do a very good job as far as planning for kids 18 to 25. And this was a program that we could offer to that age group where they didn't have to pay any money. All they had to do was show up. The Clippers paid for everything. A couple of years, we even gave them tennis shoes. So it was a great program. I hope it continues. Where it's going to be next year because they tearing the gym down, I don't know. But I hope it comes back to Rancho Cienega whenever the gym is finished.
If you just come by the facility on a Sunday, and where there's, you know, a lot of times on Sunday, we know there's not many, the park doesn't organize a lot of programs on Sunday, but you can't get in the parking lot because people are here using the facility, you know, so, you know, they're, like I said, like Ralph said, they're using the track, you know, they're using the pool, they're using the tennis courts, you know, they're using, you know, the skateboard park. So, you know, this is a jewel, really, in the city of Los Angeles.
Well, let's see, what does Rancho have that most parks don't have? Rancho has 12 tennis courts. They have a soccer field. They have 4 baseball diamonds. They have a stadium which holds 5,000 or 6,000 people. They can play football, soccer, rugby, and also hold their track meets there. So unlike some of the other facilities, they don't have quite as much to offer as Rancho has to offer. Back in 2007, when President Obama was running for president, came to Rancho Cienega. And the biggest thing that I've seen around here is that we start to see a lot of Caucasian people at the park. You know, Rancho sits in a predominantly black community, but it seemed like the week prior to that, we were getting more and more white people to come to Rancho Cienega. And I mean, he wasn't even here yet. But when he did arrive, we had a park full of people, all races, not just white, not just black, but Latino, black, white, Asian. They were all here to see the president of 2008. Now, I tell everybody, I met the president. He wasn't the president until 2008. I met him in 2007, but I met the president. It was great for the community and for the park.
A lot of times, the men, the young boys' experience with men, black men, is just at the park. You know, their experience with a coach, assistant coach, you know, maybe some other child has a father. So I would say my charge would be for men in the community to step up and come and give their talents to the rec center.
Support what they're doing over here, support the programs when it comes back, when the gym is built. But the most important thing is to get involved. We need people in the community, when we walk the community or walk through the community or walk through the park, that when somebody is doing something that they have no business doing to the park, that we make a phone call to report it. This is the community's park, okay? It's not mine because I live in the valley now. But Rancho would always be close to my heart because I met my wife here at Rancho Cienega.
All right, all right, all right.